Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another session of Let's Talk here in Interlingua. My name is Mike Rees, and I'm your host. Okay, the topic for today, it is a very complex and complicated one. Love. We all feel it. We have all experienced it. We all talk about it on a daily basis. Whew. What there is to learn about love and what there is to show about love. Many things. In one hand, we have everything that is pretty, all we cherish about those lovely moments. And on the other hand, the face of love that practically not everyone knows or wants to see. The hard work it takes to make a relationship um, advance to maybe another level or to sustain itself. Hell, the arguments, the discussions, that is also a pretty ugly part of it, but a part of it nonetheless. In a few moments, our guests will share their own experiences in particular areas of their love lives. So let's bring them out. Please welcome Karen Cottino and Carmen Garcia.
Hi, Mike.
Ladies,
Hi,
hi.
Mike.
Hello.
Hello. How are you guys?
We're doing
Fine.
good. Fine.
Uh, Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time. And well, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, love. Whew. A very simple word, a very complicated topic. But
Very much.
anyways, yes. It's like everything, In previous videos, I have mentioned a particular a particular philosophy that I always practice is that nothing is 100% good or 100% bad, and I think that also can be applied to love links, bonds, relationships, etc. And you guys were picked because you have so much to share and so much to tell us. So just let me do a little coin toss to see whoever gets the first turn. And alrighty then. And Karen, my dear.
Oh, but first, okay. Shoot.
Yes. But I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry. Out of the people in here, you are the only one who has an experience in being engaged.
That's right.
It's a pretty big step. It's a pretty big decision to make. So tell me, when does someone feel ready to take that step and to say, you know what? I think I'm cool with this. Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, well, I think it's a very personal thing. I mean, for some people, it's just 2 months and that's it, and they are ready to go, you know? But in some other cases, it takes a lot of time, a lot of, I don't know, a lot of experiences, important moments in life that make you think about these kind of things and make you feel sure about taking the decision of tying the knot, you know? It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy decision. It takes a lot of time, as you mentioned before. But I think one of the most important things that people consider is the way they feel individually. I mean,
Okay.
when you are together with somebody, of course, you behave in a certain way, right? You don't behave in the same way that you behave, for example, with your friends or your parents. So I think those are some of the things that we consider when taking the decision of getting married. And well, in my case, for example, that was some of the things that I considered when I took the decision. If he made me a better person or not, and the way that I felt with myself in that moment.
How long have you been in the relationship before you guys decided to get engaged?
That's a difficult one. We were on and off. I
Oh,
mean, yeah, so it wasn't like well, yeah, it was a very long time because it took about 5 years to take the decision, but it wasn't like, in a row. We took some breaks, so it wasn't like all in a row. But yeah, more or less 5 years of this.
5 years with on and off.
Yeah.
I can pretty much relate to that. Being
Yeah,
on
I
Thank
and
know
you.
what
off.
it is.
Why do you think that happens? Because it is a pretty. I thought it wasn't that often. The fact that we get involved with a person. Oh yeah, everything is cool, but then all of a sudden, quack, everything falls apart. But then a
Yeah.
couple of months, hell, even a couple of weeks later, we go back to the same. What do you,
Days. I would say days too. Yeah, it happens.
guilty as
Yeah, you
charged.
see?
I'm sorry. Yes, guilty. Yes, days. I didn't want to burn myself, but thank you, Karen.
I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. Tell me, why do you think we do that? Or is it, are we afraid to meet new people, or we just the longing? It's so heavy that is the only thing that gives us relief.
I think it's part of that, and also the part that we are so comfortable with this person that
Mm,
the person already knows pretty much everything about us. Of course, it depends on how much we've been together previously before the breakup, let's say.
mhm.
Um, but I think pretty much what makes us like go back there is the part of being so comfortable with each other that we don't think about it too much, and it's like, okay, he already knows everything about me, I already know everything about him. So we are comfortable with each other, we make each other happy, we already know that, and we tend to forget about the bad things that made us
Yeah.
break up in the first place. Yeah.
Oh, oh man, this is so complicated, but yeah, I don't think
But
there's anyone in the planet that hasn't done that, and I
exactly,
mean
I mean, it's
anyone.
unavoidable. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Carmen, now, one thing in particular about you is also out of all the people here, you are the only one who is currently in a relationship.
Yes.
Something very curious and something that also caught my attention. When we get involved in a relationship, are we looking for it or it just happens? In your case, how was it? Did you want to be in a relationship with someone or it was so spontaneous?
Yeah, I mean, like it just happened, Like I have a crush with this guy for many years, but I mean, I never tried anything. I never did anything because I always thought like he was not ever going to like look at me, in that way.
Oh,
And then, for example, recently I invited him to some things that I had to do, but I mean, just like friends, I didn't have any other intention. And then it just happened, like we started like going out more and more, and then the question came, like Carmen, and he said something like very fun because he said, "¿Quieres ser mi ruca?" And I was like, from all the words you could choose, you had to pick that one. But I was like, okay, yeah, yes, he was like very, yes,
I understand,
but I mean,
Holmes.
yes, exactly. From that moment, I feel like, oh my god. But I mean, it was fun. It was fine, sorry, and it was also fun. You know, it was like, okay, that's kind of new, and that's it.
Man.
Yes, like
It was a very unique one.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
I'm not sure if I would steal that technique, but I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll meet someone who I can pop the question in that way. Who
That way.
knows? You never know. You never know. But wow, wow,
Yes.
that was very interesting. You you had a crush with. Okay, step one. You had a crush with someone for a long
Yes.
time. Step two, you thought that person would never look at you. Step three, you encountered that person. Step four, boom, you're now together. You are the
Yeah.
embodiment of 80% of all Disney songs, Carmen. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, actually,
You,
when I first started the relationship,
yeah,
I told my friend, you know, like I'm scared. I don't know what's going on, and everything, you know. And he told me, and
okay.
she told me, like, Carmen, you are dating your crush. What could be wrong? You know, like if it goes wrong, or um, if you are like very happy. I mean, you managed to do something that many people can't do, you know. And I was like,
Yeah. For
okay, give
some
it
people, it's
a
impossible.
yeah.
Actually, I was going to ask you that, Karen. Has that ever happened to you, or you just in your previous relationships you were like just okay new people? Oh, this could work, or something like that happened.
Like having the same process.
No, well, like having a crush and then boom, oh my God, I'm his or
Ah,
her girl.
okay.
You know?
Okay. Um, it did happen more or less once, but he was my crush after I met him. Not, I didn't see him before. It was like he approached me and he started talking to me, and when I like got to know him a little bit better, I started liking him. But at first, like, because for some people it's like they see the person and they fall in love with the person, you know like that. So that is like why you consider the crush. But for example, in my case, I hadn't noticed him. I didn't know that we were in the same school. So after we started talking, it was like, okay, yeah, I like him. But we were just like, I don't know, like we were talking as friends at the beginning,
Yeah.
but later we started dating, like after some months.
Oh,
Yeah.
smooth operator. Okay, so and how how long was that?
The dating part.
Yeah, yes, like I mean, was that a long time ago or is something
Ah,
recently
okay.
or maybe that was
No,
the person?
no, no, of course not.
Oh, no?
That was no, that was a long time ago when I was in high school. So
Oh, okay, okay. Ah, high school romance.
yeah, that's right.
That's pretty.
What's a
Oh
very
my
nice
God.
one though.
Oh, look at my skin. It just, that the moment I said that, everything came back to my head. I'm so sorry. I'm
Yeah,
so sorry,
the
ladies. I mean,
memories came back rushing now.
yeah, yes, because I mean, well, basically the whole nature of this session gets me in a little weird spot. I like to think myself as a very sensitive person. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of emotion and a lot of memories, a lot of thoughts going into my head, in which I think the way I feel or many things that I've gone through, I'm sure you guys have to, and also our viewers. So this is your space. This space is for you guys to see if I don't know how many stories we have under a sleeve, and who knows, maybe we could be of some use to a person that is going through the same stuff and really doesn't know how to handle. God knows there have been many situations that I didn't know how to handle, but hey, we're still here, right?
That's right.
Okie dokes. Okie dokes. So tell me, Karen. Now we're going into further territory here. So you
Okay.
managed to build your relationship with your crush, Carmen. Now, if I may, a particular feature of that relationship is that your, you know, it's funny. I was going to say partner, but I think that's very formal. And I think calling it boyfriend is way informal, but let's just call it that way, boyfriend.
Okay.
Is it's considerably older than you. How do you feel
Yes,
about
it
how
is.
do you feel about that? And was that an impediment at the beginning, or you were just like, I don't care?
No, I was like, I don't care. I mean, to be honest, I've never dated anybody younger than me or even my age. And yes, and I mean, for example, in that moment, the fact that I had a very big crush on him, it's like something very important, because I was like, okay, I have the opportunity. I don't care how much older he is than me. It's
Uh-huh.
like I'm going to take it. I don't care. And yeah, that's it. And yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting process because, of
Mhm.
course, he has a lot to teach me. Like,
Okay.
I mean, because he has another vision of life, no? For example.
That's yeah, I think that shows up eventually, the with the age difference, the different perspective that each of you have in terms of life, in terms of how to like make their decisions, how to handle yourselves. But relationships are also about agreements. And for someone that is going through the same, what do you recommend in terms of like, make an agreement between two different perspectives or two different stages of
Hmm.
life?
Well, I think that, I mean, we have some different ideas in many aspects, but for example,
Okay.
some of them are not like, for example, I mean, his decisions don't affect me, for example, and my decisions don't affect him. So in those cases, it's like do whatever you want. I mean, it's like I don't mind. It's not like I don't care, but I don't mind. It's okay. And then in some other things that can affect me or can affect him, to be honest, I think I don't know. It's very strange because even though he's older, he listens to me a lot. Like I say, I want to do this, and he always says like, okay, and I'm all right, good, and that's
Oh,
it for me. That has been like very easy. Some things that he says like definitely no, but most of the things I can say like, okay, I want to do this, and he says like, all right, and that's it.
all right. All right.
That's nice.
So basically it's possible. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone can handle this type of relationship.
Yeah, and I mean you have to communicate a lot, like from the beginning we said like, okay, the idea is that we try to communicate all the time, like if there is something that we like or that we don't like, we have to say it. And I think it's been more difficult for him to communicate, like because I don't know why, honestly, but it's like he tries, and when he does it, it's very cool. It's like, okay, he's trying, he's doing it, and it works. Most importantly, like we can do something about it, and that's cool.
Okay. You said something very you said something very clear about, how decisions shouldn't affect the other person in a relationship. Which brings me to another thing, Karen. A
Yeah.
teacher, a teacher of mine once told me, and I haven't forgot about this. I just want to know your perspective of it. He told me that some relationships last a long time, not necessarily because of love, but because the respect that is in between. What do you
Mhm.
think of it? What do you think of this?
The respect between the two people, right?
Yes, yes, that is not necessarily love the most important thing, but the respect. What do you think about this?
I agree with that. I
Okay.
mean, love is also important, of course. It's an important part of any relationship, not just a romantic one. But I think having respect for each other is one of the most important things that we will ever have to do. I mean, again, not only in a romantic relationship, but in any kind of relationship. And for example, that brings me back to what Carmen said before, like respecting each other decisions, opinions, etc., etc. When you don't have that with another person, you have problems. I mean, it's unavoidable. You have problems because you are not respecting each other. So if you don't respect each other, what do you expect is going to happen in the future? It's like, I don't know if you have ever heard this before, like people making fun of the phrase, like, we are going to live with love, like only with love. Like they don't care about money, they don't care about anything else. They just think about love and that's it. To be honest, I think that love is not the only thing in a relationship. I mean, it's important, of course, but it's not the only thing. Because you can love a person a lot, but maybe you don't respect the person. So if you don't respect the person, how do you expect the relationship to grow?
Okay.
So
So
that's my opinion, of course.
so one can't be without the other.
Yeah, they can
All
be
right.
without the other.
No, no, no.
I mean,
I mean,
they
love and
can.
respect. One can't be without the other. I mean, one thing
I
cannot be 100% love and not 100%. I mean, there has to be
mm,
like a,
a
there has
balance.
to be like a, yes, thank you. Yes, a balance
Yeah,
between both of them to carry a relationship away, right?
yeah, that's right.
Oh,
I mean, they
okay.
of course can be like separated because it's possible, right?
Okay.
But it's important to have a balance between them. I think it's one of the most important things to carry out a relationship.
When you mentioned something very curious, separated. I mean, people can be in a relationship and in one place, another one in another. That brings me up to long distance relationship. Have you girls have been in one?
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Oh
they are the
dear.
worst.
Oh
they
my
are not a good
god.
idea. They never work.
No.
You see, Carmen
Okay.
agrees with me.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so you both have bad experiences with with those type of. Okay, the bottom line, you wouldn't recommend that to anyone.
No, I think maybe like if you ever expect to to be with that person, I mean together in a
Mhm.
short period of time, that could work. But
Okay.
having a relationship where you don't know like if you are going to see the person again or not, or if you are planning to live in different places like forever, that's very difficult. I can't say that's not going to work, but I can say that's very difficult.
Yeah.
Where was your person and where were you at that time?
I was in Puebla, and
Mhm.
my boyfriend in that moment was in Tabasco. I mean, the pandemic separated us. Like
Oh,
yes, and
also
it was
this was recent.
more or less in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Karen? Where were you and where was that
We
other
weren't that
person?
far away. He was in Mexico City and I was in Puebla.
Okay.
But being in
Oh,
different cities, even if it's like a 2 hour distance, I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't work. I mean, it's very, very difficult. As Carmen mentioned, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, many things. So even if you are not that far away, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and emotionally, it's very difficult, Like you need to keep everything together. I mean, if you lose your head one day, it's going to have a very big impact in everything, like
Okay.
because you don't have a chance to fix the things face to face. So it's like very difficult.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
agree with that.
And unfortunately, this is getting. I mean, the more time passes, the more common this gets. I mean, this is a proof of it. I mean, everything now is online. Everything now is just it's through our phones, through our devices.
Yeah,
Even even important matters such as talking seriously, hell, even breaking up with someone. I've heard of people
yeah,
breaking up over the phone and not even through a call. I mean, just texting.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is happening to us, Karen? Are you do you think uh in general terms people are getting less sensitive or in terms uh of being responsible for the other person's well-being?
I think it's not only a matter of like what's happening right now. I think this is something that has always been there, but
Okay.
now it has intensified like a little bit more because of the circumstance that we are living right now. Because I mean, I just remember like all of the situations in the past where I even did that, like breaking up with someone by phone, or things like that. And I think that matter of being insensitive, it's something that depends. It's a very subjective thing. I mean,
Okay.
there are
Okay.
some people who are oversensitive, and even if we have like this kind of situation right now, they try to like keep it up, like I don't know, making like probably a FaceTime or something like that, so that
Okay.
it doesn't feel that distant. But I think this is just very convenient for all the people who are not so sensitive. I think that's pretty much it. But we're
Yeah.
still sensitive and not so sensitive.
Each head is a world or a
Yeah, that's right.
universe, right?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. Oof. Emotions, emotions, emotions. Tell me now,
Mm.
Carmen. Carmen, as I understand, you are a student, right?
Yes, that's
Apart
right.
from apart from being part of Interlingual, so that means that you work and you also study. Which brings me
Yes.
to another important factor that Karen mentioned. Another important factor to sustain a relationship: time to build it, time to be with the other person, time to communicate. Given your circumstances, Carmen, I mean, I'm not being judgmental because I totally understand. I think time is something that you probably don't have much of it. So, how do you manage? I'm just being curious. How do you manage to carry on all your responsibilities with your personal life, in this case, your relationship?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. To be honest, I always find the time to see him. Like yeah, I always find the time. I try to do it because I
Okay.
mean I see him once a week. So if for some reason I don't have time or anything like that, I'm not going to see him in that week, and that's it. You know. So I normally try to have the time. And during the week it's not like a very big problem because he also works like from Monday to Friday, and he has other activities. I have other activities, so he doesn't ask me for more time. In any case, I am sometimes the one that asks for more time, and sometimes it's not possible. I mean, maybe because of me or because of him. And I mean, so far it's something that we have to live with. Like I can't think in a solution. It's like it is what it is. You can take it or not. And that's it. Like, and try to make the time that we have together like a quality time. Like doing things that we enjoy or things like that. Yes, that's it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing it. So, it's basically putting in the other person's shoes, understand that maybe that person has
Yeah.
a lot of responsibilities, a lot of duties to cover, and That doesn't mean that the person doesn't want to be with the other one. It's just like, that's life.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Cat.
mean, for example, in my case, I try to, yeah, I mean, just what I told you, I try to have the time. Maybe not a lot of time, but I try to do it, and I think it's been working so far. So far, I cannot talk about the future, but so far, it's great.
I'm glad to know that. I'm glad to know that. Karen, has anyone ever been resentful with you uh, in terms of time that we rarely see each other? Like, oh my God, we used to see each other every day. Now you're always working and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it has happened many
Oh,
times.
oh my God.
I can't recall how many times it has happened because really it has happened so many times.
Has your posture ever been? Has your posture in this matter has always been the same, or it has been improving through time?
It's been improving because in the past I used to give like, yeah, I mean, used to give a lot of time to, for example, the guy I got engaged to. I used
Mhm.
to give him like all my time, and if I didn't have time, I used to make like I don't know, make the time. Um, I think it's nice, but in some cases you need to prioritize. So
Okay.
little by little, I started learning how to do that and how to have a balance with myself too. And I think it takes a lot of time, and I don't know, it's something difficult to do. For example, right now that Carmen is talking about that, and I mean, I admire her in that area because when I was also myself doing that when I was in university in my last years of university, and I was working and I was in a relationship, and the things just, yes. I mean, I don't want to be mean and saying that yours is going to be the same way because no, I really
Okay,
hope
it's
that
okay, don't
I'm
worry.
rooting for you. I really hope that your relationship keeps going well. But yeah, yeah, because it takes a lot of time and effort and many things. I mean, you have to do many things. I know it's not easy. It's difficult to handle a situation like that. So eventually you find the balance between everything, right? Like for example, right now, as you mentioned, no? You see him once a week, so you found your balance. Yeah.
No,
The problem starts when they start, like Mike mentioned, no, like we don't see each other so much, and it's like we don't have time. So
And sadly, it takes another busy person to understand a busy
yeah,
person.
yeah,
exactly.
The
yeah,
never ending
exactly.
story. But you know what, Karen? You said you admire Carmen for being in that situation and being able to find a balance. But I also admire you in the way that I'm about to mention, which
Okay.
is dealing with a significant breakup. As I understand, your engagement uh, fell apart. You guys didn't fulfill being married, and even if it was because of you know irreconcilable difference differences, I'm sure that it's a heavy blow to take. But now you're back on your feet. I mean, it happened. Well, you will mention it in a moment. It happened a while ago, but you found your way back up. How does one with a separation that serious for something that has been building for several years before?
Well, it wasn't something easy to do. Even I didn't want to accept that I needed extra help, let's say, because well, one usually like tries to handle it by like you try to handle it by yourself because
Yes.
I mean you can do it, but in some cases you can't. So it's necessary to look for some help. And in my case, the very first time that we broke up, it was very difficult for me. The very, very first time. I mean, we had been together for about 1 year and a half, more or less. Then we
Oh,
split up, and it was really the time that I felt like I was dying. Then we got back together, like, I don't know, many times later after that. And eventually, when this became like a, I don't know, it was like bearable because it was like we got angry again, so we break up again. So it wasn't that hard. After so many times, it wasn't that hard. So the time when he asked me to marry him, I was a little bit doubtful because of that. To be honest, I was doubtful because I was like, and what happens if we break up again? You know? But
mhm.
then again, I took the decision because I was like, okay, but it's him, you know? Yeah, I know it wasn't a very clever one, but in that moment, I felt it was the most interesting one.
I'm not judging. I am no one to judge. I am no one.
Yeah, but I mean, I even say it. I know it wasn't the best one, but in that moment, I felt like it was the best one, right? So after that time, I one time I saw like myself, and I realized that I wasn't happy in the relationship, and I was feeling so down all the time. He wasn't even living here in Puebla anymore. He had moved out. So again, I had another long distance relationship that I didn't want. And I saw, and he wanted me to move to the place where he was. He wanted me to do everything. So I wasn't happy about that. Then I took the decision of breaking up the engagement because it didn't do anything for me anymore. So because I took the decision, it was easier to deal with it. In the other times when we broke up, it was just like so sudden
Mhm.
that I had no time to prepare myself. So I longed for it because it was difficult. But eventually, as I told you, it happened so many times that in that moment when I took my decision, it was like, this is for the better. Like, that's it. I'm done with this. I don't want to keep this up. So I'm not going to do it anymore. I called it off, and I actually did it by phone because he wasn't here.
Well, you
Yeah,
had
I
no
mean, he
choice. You had
wasn't
no
here.
choice.
Yeah, it was about time. So yeah, I had to do it.
All
And
right.
then yeah, and then after that, I took the decision of looking for help. Like I started going to therapy, and I haven't stopped actually with my therapy because I really love it a lot. Yeah, it has helped a lot with several things. So that's why I think it's an important thing. I mean, even if some people consider that it's not so necessary, I think that in the matter of any kind of relationship, it is necessary to have some counseling sometimes. Helps a lot. Yeah.
Where were you in my life 5 years ago? No, well, 6 years ago. I could have I could have used your testimony and for me, to get because I understand how you feel in so many ways, and I also went through a bad breakup, and this one that I am mentioning, it was the first time in my life that it really got me down. Like I was doing bad at work. I was doing very, very bad at school. I mean, everything was falling apart. I got heavier, so I lost the fact that I should be taking care of me. But like you said, some sometimes we can't deal with our issues alone. It's
Mhm.
all right to go asking for help, and I'm glad that you did, and I'm glad that you are totally okay with it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. We are walking in the light side of the road now.
Oh,
Yeah.
stay there, stay there, stay there.
That's the plan.
Speaking speaking about marriage, about engagements, Carmen, I'm also aware that earlier in your life you were considering being married. You were considering following the status quo and in finding someone to share your life maybe throughout the entirety of it, or maybe for decades, I don't know. And now something changed. What has happened between that Carmen and the Carmen that I am looking at right now?
I mean, it was when I this time it was like the one that I told, like the long distance relationship.
Yeah.
That time I really fell in love, like I was completely in love with that person. So it I mean, it was. Nowadays I don't regret it. I think in that moment it was like the good decision. It was a good idea, and maybe if we hadn't broken up, I would still think that way. Like I would, yeah, I would keep with that. But I think it was only because of that. I was like so in love, and this is something important. I hadn't experienced having my heart broken. You know, like
Oh,
so I was fearless. Let's say, you know,
okay,
like
okay, okay, okay.
all innocent. You know, and now it's like I know what it is, like you and Karen said, like to have your heart broken and to feel like you're dying and everything. So after that you start taking, like, you start being more careful, like nowadays I don't regret the idea of getting married, for example, but that is something that I'm going to think definitely more, if I have the opportunity, it's not something like I want to do, but it's not something that I reject, that's it.
Oh. You will know what to do if the option comes up. Is that what I'm understanding?
Exactly, yeah. If
Oh,
I have the, let's say, the opportunity and the desire of doing that again, I mean, I would totally do it, but I I think now my brain knows better, like be careful. Yeah, it's like yeah, that's it.
okay. Karen, do you feel that way, or something has changed radically given your experience?
I think it has changed a lot. After this
Oh,
experience, everything
yeah.
changed. Yes.
Oh, in what
Yeah.
way?
I mean, I'm not totally close to the idea of getting married someday.
Okay,
Maybe, I mean, maybe in the past it was like 90% yes and 10% no. But maybe
okay.
now is 90% no, 10% yes. So it's going the other way around. And I mean, I mean, it's not totally off the table, but I am not so sure if I want to experience that. Maybe because of the situation that I lived, and I'm not saying that it's going to be the same ever again. Maybe it can be different, right? People are different. But right now, in this moment, I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
want to. Yeah.
And you know what? There is no problem with it. There is
Yeah.
no problem with it. I have also learned that, like I said, where were you in my life 6 years ago?
I was suffering the same as you were.
Oh man, oh
We
man.
were in the same.
But that also gave me a lesson in which, tell me if you agree with it. Uh, I have learned so far that if you are not okay with yourself, if you have something going on in here, probably you won't be the best person to be in a relationship. I'm not saying that one has entirely the fault of something, going down. I'm just saying that I think that there comes a point in our lives in which we also need to be aware of our flaws, our virtues, and to see if, I mean, no matter how hard we want to share our life with another person, but maybe we're not in the best condition to do it. Do
Hmm.
you guys agree with that, or what can you tell me?
Yeah, I totally agree with that idea.
Okay,
I don't know.
go,
I
Carmen.
think, I mean, I agree that you have to, I mean, if you are not in the best position, like mentally,
Yes.
I think that number one, you have to work a lot, like on yourself, by yourself. And it's like, you have to work a lot. But as a person that has been always dealing with mental issues, for example, like depression or anxiety or something like that, it's really hard when you think, like, for example, that things could go wrong, not because of you, but because
Hmm.
of something inside of you. Like that, this constant feeling that, I mean, just what I told you, that something is wrong, not with you, but inside you. And it's very difficult to deal with that because you always like overthink everything and feel like bad or something. But I mean, eventually it's something that you have to deal with. For example, I mean, if you cannot find a real solution, or a complete solution, you have to deal with that, and you have to find a person who is capable to deal with that too. Because of course, and you have to be very honest with yourself, and recognize if you are being, for example, a toxic person or not, because you cannot take another person into your disaster. That's always that I
Yeah.
always try to do, like, not to destroy somebody else because of my issues. So
Hmm.
it's like something that you have to be very, very careful with. But I think it's possible, and it depends a lot on you and also on the other person. And that's it.
For what I'm getting is that, okay, we are all flawed, but that doesn't necessarily uh, that doesn't necessarily give us the sentence or punishment to deny ourselves being in a relationship or give or receive love. Wow, this is
Exactly.
pretty
Yeah.
heavy. This is pretty heavy.
Yeah,
This is pretty heavy.
I think it's also a matter of being responsible with yourself. That's pretty much
Exactly.
what matters. Because,
You
yeah,
chose
I
your
mean,
well-being.
yeah, exactly. As Carmen was saying, just like, I mean, problems are always there, right? I mean, there's not going to be a moment in your life where you're going to say, like, I have no problems around me. I mean, that's almost impossible. Let's be
Yeah.
honest here. So, in that
Or
matter,
maybe
okay,
you think that you are perfectly fine, but honestly you aren't.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
another
That's right. But
You
in
always
general,
deal
I
with
think
something.
if you, yeah, exactly. If you're responsible with your own things, and as you were saying, like you don't give the other person like that the same, like having or those things, think that's good. That's good
Yeah,
enough.
Okay. So, well, given that Carmen is currently in a relationship, she's fine. She's fine in the way that her boyfriend. Well, she understands her boyfriend, and she's okay with everything going on with him, and when they communicate, etc. But Karen, if you eventually want to get involved with another person, what has changed in terms of what you look for in another person, or
Oh
you
God,
are
that's a tough
just
one.
or oh really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's a tough question. I mean, I mean,
Okay, just
mm,
let's just narrow it like this. Uh, is the Karen from the past still looking for the same in another person, or today's Karen looks for more things or different things?
I think it's not the same. I look for different things now. I mean, as we were just saying, individually each person changes a lot, right? So as you are growing up, you also think about other things, yeah? So you don't want always the same. So yeah, of course, I am not looking for the same nowadays. I'm looking for something totally different. I'm not even sure if I'm looking for a specific thing.
Okay, okay, okay.
So yeah, it's like a very general thing. I haven't figured it out yet.
Hey, who has?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's just for like, it's for people. This is also another. I believe it could be useful for us to have a part two or three of this session. But I ask you that question because many people fall into patterns that probably they're not aware of that they are doing, and I think it would be very useful for their sake to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you realize that this person is exactly the same as the previous one you were with? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And boom, everything just the slap of reality happens. But I think it's good to be aware that maybe you're not looking for the same type of person like when you were 17, 19,
Hmm.
at, as of,
Definitely no.
And I mean, I
okay,
think it's
you
also very
understand, right?
important to know. Maybe, like Karen said, like we
Hmm.
honestly never know what we are looking for, but maybe
Okay.
it's good to know what you don't want. You know,
Yeah.
like
All
I
right.
think that is something that we should have like clear. So you don't waste your time. For example, like
Okay.
that's it.
And that happens when you know yourself.
Yeah.
So that's an important part over here. And of course,
Wow.
you get to know yourself once you give yourself the chance. So
That was beautiful. Thank you for saying that.
therapy helps
Thank
a
you for
lot.
saying it has. It has. It
Yeah.
has. It's definitely have both of you. Both of you. I thank both of you for being here, for your time, and also for sharing what you did because I guys, I understand. It's not easy to talk about it and even less to do it in a live broadcast. So I can't thank you enough for doing this. Thank you so much for being here. Wow. Give yourself
Thanks
a
for
round of
inviting
applause, guys. Nah, I'm delighted to have you. Give yourself an applause, guys. You deserve it.
us.
And there you have it, folks, for our viewers. I hope this was very useful for you. I hope you got related in some way. And if you're planning to do something about your current situation, do it as of now. Our guests were Karen Cottino, Carmen Garcia, Eric Rios was in our controls. I am Mike Reese, and well, I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night.